Now available on Blu-ray from Liberation Hall is the film you've been waiting for, Project ALF. That's right, Project ALF. And I'm not being condescending here. This was a lot of fun. Project ALF, the TV movie from 1995-96 that was intended to be essentially a pilot for a new ALF series for ABC. This is a feature-length, shot-on film, on location out in the world, ALF motion picture for television. So the deal here is, and some of this is coming from what I heard in the extras. The ALF TV series, which ran somewhere, I want to say, 1986 to 1990, when it went off the air on NBC, the last episode was a cliffhanger where ALF was captured by the Air Force or the government or something like that. This TV movie basically answers what happened to ALF after that. So I'm not going to tell you the whole story. The film opens with a trial, military trial, secret military trial, panel, tribunal, whatever, two tables, and they're saying, what should we do with this alien life form, ALF? And one table is Martin Sheen, as a general or a commander. He's some military guy who says, I think this thing is a threat. I think ALF should be incinerated. And then this other group who's been working with ALF, it was Jensen and another person. Jensen, who I remember, apparently she was on Home Improvement. Apparently both these actors were on Home Improvement, I'm told, which was an ABC show at the time that had just, I guess, ended. But I knew her from Friday the 13th, Part 8. She's the female lead in Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Manhattan. Jason Takes Manhattan, or as I like to call it, Jason Hits the High Seas. And they are friendly to ALF, and they say, no, he's great. ALF is a little bit annoying, but he's wonderful, and he should be released to go and live his life. So basically the struggle is that, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, then what they do is the friendlies, oh, I like friendlies. Boy, that was a great restaurant. They break ALF out of military prison and hit the road. It becomes a road movie, and they're headed out towards some alien researcher who's going to help ALF, go undercover or go home or something like that. So it becomes basically a comedic road movie where ALF is this little agent of chaos looking to always eat and eat cats and crack wise and just be mischievous. And these two people are trying to, stay on the straight and narrow, keep him away from the military who's looking for him and get him to safety. So this was funny. I loved ALF when it was on TV. I had the ALF No Problem t-shirt that my mother got for me at Kmart. Used to wear it to school till it didn't fit anymore. And ALF was funny, and this movie is funny. It's done by the same creative team. Paul Fusco was behind it. He's back voicing ALF. It was, like 5 or 6 years after the show went off the air. I was in college at the time this came out, so I never saw this. I was, I think, only vaguely aware that it existed. I don't know if it ever had a video release before this Blu-ray, but here it is on Blu-ray looking great, looking better than it ever would have looked on ABC at the time. Widescreen, looks appropriately framed for widescreen, and you've got Martin Sheen playing it dead straight in this movie, which makes it better. And, not everybody has to be going high in a comedy film. A lot of times, playing it straight makes it funnier, and he does. The only really wacky character in this, for the most part, is ALF. You do see Ray Walston as like a drunken motel owner who's pretty funny in the film. There's a lot of cameos. Ed Begley Jr. is very funny in a rather dark scene and sequence. And there's a few faces you recognize. Mac from Night Court is in it as it goes along. And it's just interesting to see a little bit more risque humor than I recall from ALF, even though this was a TV movie. And I wondered at one point, I'm like, was this made for video? But then there'd be the fades to black, and I'm like, okay, this was network TV. And it's interesting to see ALF on film. It's interesting to see ALF without a laugh track. That was weird. I'm used to watching the show with either a laugh track or the live studio audience. So ALF doing the laugh lines and there no audible reaction was a little weird, but I still thought this was funny. It's a really interesting curio. There aren't a lot of modern day, this is 30-something years old, but there aren't a lot of modern day features that grew out of old TV shows that were done relatively close to when they were made. Usually it's a remake with a big cast that kind of mocks the TV show, or maybe it's a reunion TV movie, which is what this was. But it's always interesting to see something that was based on a TV sitcom in a studio set, shot on video, suddenly on film and in a car going places in like real locations. So Project ALF is a lot of fun. Extras. Actually, I have to refer to my notes here for the extras. We have trailers, which for other Liberation Hall releases. We have a photo gallery, and we have an interview with ALF creators Paul Fusco and Tom Patchett. as well as cast and crew bios. The interview is really cool. It's done as a commentary, and they call it Paul Fusco interview commentary, but I mean it's really a commentary. They are referring to what's going on the screen, but they're also just talking about the genesis of the project, which was very interesting. How ALF originally came to be, the making of the film, some of the jokes they wanted to do, and also, you know, what the original plan was, which I thought was very interesting for what happened with NBC at the end, how this came to ABC, what the show was. They said it was going to be basically like a Sergeant Bilko set on a military base. If this did well, they were going to have ALF just be a presence at a military base where he's trying to, you know, scam people and rip people off and sell people things and just running the grift and the graft. So if you're a fan of ALF, this really is kind of a must-see. It's fine for kids. There is a little, he goes to a strip club at one point, but it's bikinis, you know, it's more of a mistaken identity kind of thing, or mistaken intent kind of thing. It's called the Kitty Cat Club, and he thinks it's the place where he can go and eat cats, because ALF eats cats. So anyway, available now on Blu-ray from Liberation Hall is Project ALF.